ridiculous because many of the strikes right now are happening close to the Turkish border in the north of Syria.
Clearly, for Turkey's anger and frustration with the situation has been growing. It is now at a point where it sees that no one is going to come in support of its own national interests. And I think it has made a decision that whatever happens, it is going to defend its vital interests. And those vital interests are first and foremost the Kurdish issue, which impacts Turkey's internal stability and internal national cohesion, as well as it has taken a position against the Assad regime. It cannot see the Assad regime prevail again because it sees this as future years of attempts to destabilize it by the regime.
Well, we'll come back to analysis of the Turkish position and all the key international players in this conflict in a short while, but I want to begin by getting to grips with the position of your grouping of, let's say, moderate forces, both political and military, inside Syria. I just want to get a very simple question out of the way. Do the groups that you are associated with recognize this cessation of hostilities deal? Will the fighters that you, in a sense, speak for, be silencing their guns by the end of this week?
There is a stop of air bombings by Russia. The air campaign has jeopardized the whole attempt to get really to a point where there is a cessation of hostilities. The groups who went along with the political opposition, these were military groups represented in Geneva 2 weeks ago when talks were supposed to start. Peace talks were supposed to start in Geneva with the regime. Those groups were represented, and they came because they were sincerely planning to abide by any political arrangement. Now, the humanitarian situation was not any better, and this was an important requirement for the talks to start. But more importantly, the air campaign by Russia started. So the opposition, both political and military, was left with no choice but to ask for a suspension of the peace talks, which in fact never really started.
No, but as far as you're concerned now, you're not going to take part in any mooted further peace talks, are you? Because the idea of the Americans is to get back to Geneva and get back to talking, certainly before the end of February. But your groupings are not interested anymore?
Of course they are. I think it's very important to continue to say that the opposition is genuinely committed to a political process. But the political process will never happen if the minimal conditions that the opposition has set are not met. When I say minimal, we know what that means today, and Russia understands, and every country that has been involved in this process understands what that means, that Assad is not part of transition. Negotiations, he's still there until we reach an agreement on what the transition looks like. And it
came on the sidewalk.
What we have defined in a Geneva document 4 years ago now, what we have redefined and reconfirmed in several documents signed by Russia, signed by the United States, that a transition...
Yeah, but if I may interrupt you, things have changed. You know, you're still banging on about Assad absolutely having no role in the transition, when it has become painfully obvious in recent weeks that the Russians are driving this process forward, and as far as they're concerned, Assad is central to Syria's future. They're not letting him go, they are now buttressing his power, and as we now know from Mr. Assad himself,